Today, Ghana is talking about the research agenda, a new way of doing things and creating opportunities led by the NDC government and led by President John Dramani Mahama. It is a moment for us to sit together and talk about what this research really means for Zongo families, for the Zongo youth, and for the Zongo future. So in fact, we want to bring that conversation home to our brothers and sisters in the Zongo communities who think that they are excluded of the research agenda. The government does not really pay attention to them. A lot of promises have been made to them over the past couple of years. They always feature in political party manifestos. But there's the big concern about the levels of implementation, how they benefit from these policies by successive governments. But we also know that the Zongo communities, they have been places of hard work. Their sense of togetherness is often unmatched. So this conversation is about how a fresh start can also create new opportunities for Zongo families. Alhaji Halidu Haruna, he is the Chief Executive Officer of the Zongo Development Fund, and that is the agency tasked with driving development in Zongo and other disadvantaged communities in Ghana. Well, Alhaji was appointed by President John Dramani Mahama in 2025 to lead the fund. He has a lot of experience in this area, in this arena. He has served as the communications director of the National Hajj Board before, and he's a former parliamentary aspirant for the Ablekuma Central constituency. We know that Alhaji, as CEO, he has been publicly active in expanding the skills and training as well as employment opportunities for the youth in the Zongo communities, strengthening partnerships with traditional leaders and community stakeholders to support inclusive community-driven development, supporting initiatives that tackle social challenges, unemployment, and then most importantly, drug abuse, while promoting rehabilitation and then empowerment programs. The Zongo groups, they love him. They love him very much. And I have in my hand right now the research and agenda, the 2024 manifesto abridged version of the NDC, building the Ghana we want together, jobs, accountability, and prosperity. If you go to page 68 of that book, that is what captures Zongo and inner city development. Alhaji is here to talk about all of that with us. Alhaji, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Great. How has 2025 been for you? So far, so good?
Well, so far, so good, yes. I think that it has been impressive. And we are excited that an opportunity has been given to lead and provide leadership in running the agency called Zongo Development Fund.
How has running the agency been like? How is it going?
Well, it's a bit challenging, and at the same time, I would say once you have the passion to assist in uplifting the weak and the vulnerable, and you are placed in such a critical institution, you will have nothing than to be driven by that passion to ensure that things are done right. So basically, I would say so far, I have led the Zongo Development Fund to try to shape in the operation of the fund, because I actually inherited a very distressed fund with only 221 Ghana cedis in the cafes.
In the fund, 221 cedis.
221 Ghana cedis. Unfortunately for me, I did not get the opportunity of getting my predecessor to sit with me to hand over formally.
So there were no proper handing over notes and all of that?
Handing over. What he decided to do was to just send an email with some addendum attached to what he claimed to be the handing over notes. So basically, you have to just use your experience to unearth certain things that has been done which are not too good. And I have discovered a certain challenging and revealing and disturbing development within the fund. And I think that when you are entrusted with an opportunity to serve, particularly a community that needs or requires some kind of support, you are supposed to be harnessed and supposed to work diligently. You don't just misuse the money. I sit there as a CEO of Zongo Development Fund. I get a bit worried sometimes with even the request that comes to the fund.
What kind of requests do you get?
Yeah, you have a situation where my expectation really is that if a request should come to me, it should be about sponsoring young men and women within the community, because no community will develop without human resource.
Right.
You need to build the human resource base, educate the young men, and at least empower them. But you have situations where when the request comes, it's about you have to sponsor a festival, you have to sponsor. In fact, when you do the needs assessment, it is crucial to make this point that I basically feel that if I have to spend 10,000 Ghana cedis, that 10,000 Ghana cedis should be productive. I mean, I should spend it in a productive area where it will yield a benefit that will assist the development of the community. I am not saying that coming to, because as it is part of our mandate,
yes,
to assist festivals, etc., aim at promoting tourism. It is. But when it becomes a norm rather than the exception, it becomes a bit difficult. As a young man, or probably somebody born from Zongo, I have a personal experience of life
in the Zongo community.
In the Zongo community. It is not an easy thing to grow up within the Zongo community, where you have a situation where individual who may have benefited and may have, through their own effort, be able to grow. They leave the community. And at least there are certain things that has to be done within the community. For instance, if I today were to be involved in drug addiction, I don't think that His Excellency the President will find me useful to lead that agency.
Sure.
Now, my presence within the community will inspire young men and women growing up
in the community,
knowing my background and where I'm coming from. Certainly, they would be inspired that you don't allow poverty. You don't allow probably having two of your parents, both mom and dad, who are not educated, to be an impediment on your effort to grow. But the situation in Zongo is that the moment we get this opportunity, we walk out of that community. We only leave behind the bad examples for the young ones to see. And sometimes you cannot blame the young ones because they grow up to see only...
That's the only things
that's the only see they are encountered with. So that is one of the difficulties I think that I need to emphasize on and call upon all those who are from Zongos. In fact, if God has done so, has been gracious to you, and you have what it takes, and you are able to build in East Lagos, it does not actually take you away from the Zongo community. Be available so that the young ones can look up to you
and learn
be inspired,
from you.
Learn from you. So what we are lacking is mentorship.
At the moment.
Okay. And which I intend to lead to ensure that at least we give the young ones an examples that they can, be inspired on, and then be able to. I was born in Zongo typically, with a very poor background, but I was able to soldier on and be admitted in Infansipim. It's not an easy thing. My basic school, I attended the government basic school, not private school. My dad was basically a laborer and then a watchman. And so with this kind of story and background, when you step in there with the young men and speak to them on it, certainly they will be inspired to also try to soldier on, because that motivation which made you to drive to go and then get yourself a little education. When you use that as a background, it will inspire many of the young ones to. I sit here a very disturbed man because of the crippling effect of drug abuse within the Zongo community.
We'll get into all of that, Alhaji, but let's take a few steps back. And then when you assumed office, with how much was in the coffers of the fund, and based on the needs of the people, how did you manage it?
One of my staff, management team, one of my staff said, Alhaji, we thought you are a magician, because it's like ever since you assumed office, in spite of the fact that we do not have enough resources, we've been able to run, and indeed, we've been able to run the fund, the activity of the fund to some extent.
How did you do it? You only had 215, you said.
221 Ghana cedis.
221 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
How did you use 221 cedis to run a fund for Zongo communities? And how many communities are we looking at?
We are looking at about 3,000. It's difficult to be specific in terms of the number,
but
because
around
every
3,000
day you have
communities springing up.
Okay.
So how did you do it?
That's a very good question to ask. I have, in fact, because of I'm sure people, those who know me, will understand that I have people who support. Basically, when you are good to humanity, others will reciprocate same to you. My motivation really is to see people smiles. So at the end of the day, there are few people that I have run to assist.
Okay.
And they have done that without any, if I should say, hesitation.
Okay.
And so, having been able to get that kind of support, I decided that, yes, this fund, in fact, leadership is about taking steps to change what is not good, or to change situations to a better situation, a bad situation to a better situation. So once you are granted with the opportunity to lead, you must demonstrate the capacity to lead by making sure that what you have found out, which is not in good condition, you change it to a better situation. And
so
that
you
is
got
exactly,
support from,
I've gotten support, and then a little budget releases, and we have also internal generated, we have 3 sources of funding.
Okay.
Government of Ghana, internal generated, donors or investment. Unfortunately, I was thinking that by now we should have more investment that will accrue to our benefit, but that hasn't been done. I promised the community that under my leadership, I'll make sure that when we are able to get enough fund, we are going to invest in an area that will accrue to the benefit of the
So how long have you been there since?
Virtually 3 months now.
You're very young there.
Very young.
From 221 cedis.
Yes.
So how much do we have now in the fund, if you know?
Well, so far in our internal generator, we have about 200,000 Ghana cedis.
In 3 months, you got this amount of money.
It is actually a money that has been, because we have astroturfs.
Yes.
And when that astroturf is actually rented by individuals for their various activities, so when they rent, under the policy of the agency, we have an allocation that we make.
A percentage, okay.
A percentage. So 60% of the money comes to us, 15% goes to the management team, then 15% goes to community, then 10% to the assembly, where the astroturf or that facility is situated. So out of that, we're able to get the 200,000 Ghana cedis. But you know, we cannot even utilize the 200,000 Ghana cedis unless we seek clearance from the finance ministry. And that is what I intend doing, because I visited Tamale, to be specific, Sanergu, where the previous regime put up a recreational center. It's a craft center. And looking at that center, it will be useful and it will impact on the development of that community, because this is a center that is meant to train people in fugu, fugu, smokes.
Yes, smokes.
Yes, they would train patakari. They would train young men and women within the community. They will train them in leather, sandals, shoes, etc. So I think that it's crucial that center should be completed. So I visited the chief, because the chief has decided to give us an allocation of 33 acres of land for senior high school that we intend building as part of our promise within the manifesto. Islamic Senior High School, we promise. So the chief of Sandarugu made some allocation of 33 acres of land to us. So I decided that as courtesy's demand, I must move there to thank him. And it was at that point that he raised the issue of the craft center. I visited the place, and it was an impressive structure. So I decided that I have to then seek clearance from the finance ministry so that I could use the 200,000 to invest in that craft center, because I'm sure the benefit will be more.
But if you use the 200,000 to invest in that craft center at where it is, what happens to the other communities? Well, how will they benefit?
We run a system where, when the craft center certainly is going to create revenue to us. So investing in, we are likely to retrieve back that money with so much even dividend out of that. So it is not just investing the 200 without getting back that money. We have put up places, things like public place of convenience, that also generates some incomes to us. And so internal generated, we are getting it. But the mandate of the agency, among the mandate is to raise funding. So I have a program this year that I'm going to organize a road fundraising roadshow, which I intend to embark somewhere around February, later part of February to March, where I will visit most of these Gulf countries with proposals in respect of the project we intend doing. As I speak to you now, even though I do not have the needed funding, I've been able to have the architecture drawing of the Islamic school that we intend putting up within the 3 sectors of this country. That is the northern part, the middle belt, and then the southern part. These are the promises we made that we are going to establish 3
schools,
Islamic Senior High School with modern facilities. The architecture drawing has been done. And in fact, you asked earlier, how did I do it? As part of my performance KPIs, every quarter I have to go to His Excellency, the President's office, to present my outlook and my performance, what I've been able to achieve. And it was in that conversation that it emerged, because the previous regime were unable to meet certain targets. So out of that interaction, I got the impression that at least if you have a project and you have good friends, it's possible they can assist in getting all those drawings that you need to, because you cannot go with any proposal without showing the pictorial structure of that project that you intend doing to anybody who want to assist you. So I needed to get all those things done. And as I speak to you now, I have the architecture drawing, and I'm seeking for approval from Ministry of Education. Then a proposal has been developed, which I intend attaching to go to the Gulf city, so particularly Turkey, Qatar, etc. I'm going to seek for support from them. I don't intend relying solely on the support of government. I think that I need to open up and be able to secure.
So around what time are we looking at? What are the timelines we're looking at to get the help and then to maybe finish construction or reach a certain level?
When you go for this kind of support, you need to convince the people. They must be convinced, and it should also be in line with what they intend to do.
True.
And the Gulf countries, they have a program every year that they intend to support communities, countries that are not developed, particularly areas where you have Muslim dominated. Now, Zongo Development Fund, people have a certain misconception about when we talk of Zongo. They normally believed these are Muslims who are just living within that community. No, Zongo, in fact, Zongo Development Fund is not driven by religion. It's not religion driven. It is actually supposed to assist the developmental needs of the community called Zongo, not specific to do with Islam. I want to clarify that, because when you go to Zongo, it is not only Muslims who are living in Zongos. We have non-Muslims, they have traditionalists, etc. All these group of people are supposed to benefit from the development that we send there. And so those who think that when we talk of Zongo, it's only Muslims and then they don't want to have anything to do with that, I think that misconception must be discarded, because it doesn't help. Now, no country can be described as developed when that country has slums like Zongos, etc. If indeed you want to develop, you must have that holistic development. And so the creation of Zongo Development Fund is critical, because at least it will identify areas of needs of Zongos, and then provide that resources to enable us to bring up the development of the community at par to other areas of our country. And that is where we can say that, yes, Ghana is developing.
So the research agenda that the NDC government has spoken about, what practical changes should Zongo residents expect to see in the coming months, in the coming years?
Well, first of all, I think that I keep telling people that, and that I demonstrated that in front of the Sana when I visited him. Time conscious. And if there should be anybody who should respect time, it should be a Zongo man. You know why?
Tell us.
Because you have a situation where if you are living in Zongo and you are a Muslim, you are supposed to pray 5 times a day.
True.
And you have to pray within time. And so anytime it is one, you see the Muslim running to the mosque because they want to pray as prescribed by the dictate of the Quran or the Hadith. Now, but it is strange when it comes to adherence to time. When you invite somebody to a program, you have a situation where you give the person 9:30. Around 9:30, the person will start leaving the house. You are expected to be at the place at 9:30.
Yes. Some will say, 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11.
Exactly. So one of the things I intend doing, and which I think I am frustrated by that, is that you receive an invitation. They tell you 10 o'clock. And because of my consciousness when it comes to time, by 10, you are funded. Then you see that the organizers have not even started anything. You have to go and wait 1 hour, 2 hours. It is an aspect of our life which I think we need to work on. And that day when I visited the Sana, he said, yes, indeed. 30 minutes before the time he gave me, I was there. Then he himself in his remarks says that it's truly, if Zongo is able to come before time, that means that the reset agenda is on course.
Okay, so again, to those who are listening, they want to see practical changes. Yeah. What kind of changes will they see in the communities practically?
Practical change. I have a concept.
Okay.
And because of my personal experience, and that has motivated me to develop that concept, that I decided to tag that concept as ZITCOM centers.
What are they?
ZITCOM. So you use this Z ZCOM centers. It's supposed to be a training center.
Okay.
Where you have a library, both as Islamic and then
regular, if you
English.
like.
Yes. Now, in that center, we intend to deploy counselors who will identify young men who are living within the community. In fact, because of the setup of the Zongos, you have a situation where parents stays with their children in a room, maybe chamber and hall. These children attend schools. They are expected to read in the evening. But because of the limitations, parents want to sleep and children, they want to read. The light is supposed to be on.
Yeah.
Then parents want the light off. So that kind of scenario impede the learning process of these young men within the community. That's a personal experience I have had. So when I was in school, what I adapted and what I did was that after closing, I stayed in school for an hour or two
to learn.
Read my books. So you will never see me reading in the house. That became an issue between me and my senior brother. He was always on my neck.
That you don't learn.
Yeah, I don't learn. And I told him, and because he decided to give me a quota, if you are able to get a grade 6, I will sponsor you to secondary school. So I just said to him that, what's your problem? If I'm unable to meet the condition you've set out, I am the cause of it. So don't just worry me, leave me. And indeed, I was able to make it. And then he actually honored his promise. So because of that personal experience, I decided to develop that concept where we register these young men within the community where these centers will be put up. When we register them, we are going to deploy national service personnel, and we are going to have our district officers also being part of that structure.
Okay.
We'll develop a complete secretariat. Now, why the secretariat? The secretariat, I have decided to introduce the secretariat because you have a situation where a child having both parents who are not educated, after BEC, they have a challenge. They don't know what to do. And so you see such children in crisis. Whenever after BEC, they have to go for their results, they have to get it endorsed. They don't have that opportunity. They get themselves frustrated. Unless maybe those who have friends who direct them, go and do this, go and do that. My personal experience, let me tell you, when my results came, I had to take transport fare, go to Tantiri in Kanishi. As a child, a young man from JSS, I have to travel to Cape Coast for my prospectus. Today, as we speak, how many of the young men completing JSS will be able to go on their own to do those things? So what we need to do is to guide them. And then these centers is supposed to address the issues of drug abuse, because the young ones who are not infected by any of these issues of the social vices will be able to guide them out of it, because it's just like the prep system we run in secondary schools.
Right.
So in the evening after prayers, my expectation is that parents will just push these young men just for 1 hour to come to that center. They will have guidance. They have people there who will guide them. And then we'll monitor their growth in terms of their educational performance. So at the end of the day, these children are going to be registered by using their Ghana card. We'll monitor their activity till after JSS. If they are going to secondary school, based on their performance, the counselor there will advise which course the child will be able to do.
Okay.
And so there will be serious guidance in respect of that. Now,
so these will be physical structures.
These will be
in all the
physical structures that we intend putting up within the community. And in fact, we intend to address the issue of drug abuse head on. We need to protect the young ones who are not in need. so that at least those who are unfortunately affected
will not
will look
influence
at
them.
rehabilitation and getting them out of that. But we must not allow those young ones coming up to get in before we start to fight.
That's what the center will address.
That's what the center will address.
Okay.
To address the issue of career guidance, will guide them in terms of their career. We assess them based on their performance in school and advise which field will they best fit, and then we'll give them that advice, because certainly they are not getting that from their homes. Parents, normally those who are educated, they have the benefit of assessing the behavior of their child,
right?
And they are able to tell which course when you take, it will help you. But
it appears to me that your focus is on human resource.
That is critical.
Very, very good. But what about, communities or people who unfortunately may not know the importance of the human resource development? They are expecting something else, or they have different needs. How would you address that?
We have skills training.
Okay.
We have, as part of our mandate, we have skills training. Those who indeed do not have what it takes to go through that formal education, we are supposed to train them in areas that will also be productive. Those who want to learn tailoring, those who want to go into mechanic, those who want to learn entrepreneurship, all these are things that we do. Now, those who will be benefiting from that training, after the training, we are supposed to establish them by providing them with the tools that will enable them to go out there and continue with what.
And are you establishing them in the community itself?
We are going to. We have to establish them in the community by providing the tool that will enable them to operate as they were trained.
This selection process will be across all the Zongo communities in the country.
It's supposed, but it will depend on the availability of resources. Yeah. But I think that apart from getting the resources on your own, we can also collaborate with other agencies that can provide that. So I have gotten some proposals from other agencies that we want to partner as. We are to identify the individuals who are willing to participate. Then we provide push them there, then we get that done. So collaboration we do with other agencies to provide those needed support. So it is not just, even though we don't have the resources that we need, we will continue to soldier on, because you need a deep thinking as you sit there as a CEO of Zongo Development.
We have touched on we have mentioned a few times the concern about drug abuse, and that is not to say that it is only in the Zongo communities, not at all. It is widespread countrywide. But if you go to the Zongo communities, we see it predominantly there sometimes. First of all, what is the approach to why does it happen there, first of all?
Well, that's a very good question. Why does it happen? Because when growing up in Zongo, I hardly see a young man smoking.
Because the thinking is a religious group, although that is not the idea, but it is a religious group, people who are together, they care for each other. There's a sense of belonging and togetherness. That's what we are used to.
That is what is missing. That resulted in what is manifesting in the Zongo community. That care and togetherness completely missing within the Zongo community.
How did it happen?
Growing up as a young man, you have a situation where you may have done something wrong. People don't wait for your parent to come before you are disciplined. You are disciplined before your parent will even get to know about it. And after that, you have your parent coming to thank those who discipline you, because indeed they have done some good to you. But globalization and modernization have come, where people think that, computer, they say Jay-Z's. Today, when you touch somebody's son or daughter, the person comes to fight you. Why did you do that? So people coil back and decided to adopt the strategy of each one for himself, God for us all. And that's the results of what we are seeing within the Zongo community.
Is it not the frustration of life? I mean, a lot of the youth there are not employed. They wake up, they don't really know what to do, so they get overwhelmed by life, and then they are introduced to such things.
I don't think so. I don't think so. In the past, many of us who were growing up within the Zongo, we have seen young men who were not employed, but they never delved into drugs because that community guidance exists. You cannot, you dare not, because every person you come across is considered as a brother or as a sister. So when you go wrong or you do anything that is not untoward, you are disciplined. But because now parents will not accept that, you touch his son or his daughter, they come after you. And so people decided, okay, let's leave and then stay. And there is no way an individual can bring up a child alone. It's a community, in fact, by the setup of the Zongos. Zongo is supposed not to be experiencing that kind of emergence of drugs. I get a little worried sometimes when I enter and I see young men within their productive age, completely destroyed by drugs. And that is why just quite recently, the Zongo chief in Ablekuma Central said, no, it cannot continue like this. He called on the young men within the community who are level-headed, stood up and said, no, we won't accept this to continue. They fought it. And in fact, there is something I keep telling them that, you see, if you want your condition to change, you don't expect somebody to come and force you to change that condition. You take the steps. When you take the steps in addressing your own condition, you get the help, the needed help that you require.
So what should the leaders in these communities do?
We should bring back that community togetherness, where your son is my son, your daughter is my daughter. If I see, in fact, just 3 days ago, one of the, she's now grown because she's married. I used to see them when I when I found them around the football. There's a football park, very big football park, in the evening. Anytime I come out and I see them, I take kill and chase them. And so when they see me, they shout, Halidu na zua, that Halidu is coming. Then they run. These are young women. Today, they are all married in their husband's home. They see me and they laugh over it. Say in the past, this guy will come with a kill and he was chasing us. Because I don't see what they were doing on that, in late in the night on that field. So anytime I see that, I chase them. And none of their family members ever confronted me, why are you doing that? Today they are very useful women, married and bringing up their kids. So I think that we need to come back to that culture where your child is considered as my child. I will treat your child the way I will treat my child. But a situation where I felt that, no, my child is superior than this person's child, will continue to suffer this kind of unfortunate development within the Zongo
And for
community.
those who have unfortunately fallen victim of the abuse and are addicts now and have nowhere to turn to, how will the fund, or how will the Zongo Development Agency, how will they look after these?
We are partnering with the leadership of the community, the chiefs, the imams, to engage these young men and women. As I earlier on indicated, it's just lack of resources. I am really committed because, to be honest with you, I want to see the Zongo, the perception about Zongo change, the orientation, etc. So we intend to partner with the leadership of the Zongo community so that those who are infected, we try to find a rehab for them and we get them out of that. If we are able to get them out of it, we put them under the training of the Zongo Development Fund on the basis of skills training so that at least they will become useful and productive to the community. After training, as I earlier indicated, we have to establish you by providing all the needed tools for your job. So I'm sure if we are able to get them out of that drug abuse, addiction, and then we train them, and provide them with the needed support, I'm sure we'll be making a headway within the Zongo community.
And the other bit about a lot of the vices coming from the Zongo communities and how easily people use the youth, men and women from these communities, to perpetrate crime, evil, to hurt others. How is the agency also dealing with something like this?
It is an issue of orientation. And I keep telling people that when you are always confronted with the bad examples, you are likely to copy. And that is the situation. But it will take time to get these things changed. That is why I keep urging young men and women who are somehow okay in life, who are coming from the Zongo, not to distance themselves. I have suffered, the kind of experience I went through within my own community, I should have stayed off completely from that because of the level of, should I use hatred? It may be a strong word to use, but I have suffered seriously. But my perception or my reason for continuously going there is not about those who are doing that to me. It's about the young ones coming up, and for them to see that, no, if you remain focused and determined, you will certainly get the support from individuals to grow. And so I don't consider what I went through and still going through as an impediment to stay away. In fact, God has been so gracious to me. I have my own apartment, 3 kids blessed, one completed KNUST, the other one in UPSC, the third one in Ghana National. At least as a young man, for me, when I look at this, it's enough. And I think that it will serve as an inspiration to others. I drive, before even the appointment, I drive a reasonable nice car because at least Benz GLC 350. It's not just any car.
Sisters, so, are you listening to what the man is saying? Sisters, he doesn't even drive now.
So it's not any, but that is, and to be honest with you, you get to know where I'm coming from, and you understand why I keep emphasizing on that. And so that experience, anyone or any young man that will hear or listen to that will be inspired and motivated that this guy, he keeps making us proud. This place, this is where he was born. Tankas like room number compass 17. When you come there, you ask, they will tell you.
So, where do you live now, Alhaji?
Old Barrier.
So, do you still live in the Zongo community?
Old Barrier, where I live, is not Zongo community, but there is no day I don't step my foot in my area.
So it is not necessarily for the people who have been successful to live there, but
no,
it should be...
You see, by the nature of the setup, it will be difficult. In fact, when Professor Mills won the election, I had the opportunity of serving under his administration. And I stayed throughout the 4 years in that community. Strangely, it was the same community people who were telling me, won't we live here? Won't we live here?
Why were they telling you?
And a friend of mine, a schoolmate of mine, brought a lady for me to assist in terms of school replacement. When she came and looked at my room, she asked the friend, are you sure he has the power to do what you are asking me, or what I want? Then the guy said, oh, he can do it. The woman said, no, I don't believe it. If he has that power to do it, he will not stay here.
But why were your own people sacking you from the place?
Well, they think that, and that is the funny aspect of life. Strangely, when even you walk, they see you walking, they ask you, where's your car? So they think that once you occupy a certain position, you are not expected to live a normal life.
Like them.
Like them. And so it makes it so difficult anybody to be able to associate. But sometimes I parked my car. I walked around on foot. There are many of these boys who want to talk to you. If you continue to ride or drive in your car with the tinted glass
And you are inaccessible.
You are inaccessible. How would they be able to listen to, wisdom? You see the difficulty?
True.
But community, society, pressure within the society itself. So they continuously attack me. Why do you stay here? Why do you stay here? In fact, let me tell you a story. I parked an official vehicle under Professor Amos when I was... Then I came out one morning and that car was scratched with a metal. So I look at it, I say, I scream, who did this? And the elderly man was sitting by me and said, this is Zongo. If you want to park a car, go and look for a garage. So I turned and looked at him and I said, what kind of statement is this? You mean, Zongo, we don't deserve good things? It is only bad things that we deserve. Why is it that, Zongo, we cannot park a good car outside?
What did she say?
He told me, he said I should go and look for a garage and park the car inside. I turned and looked at him, but you see that statement, it was intended to probably tell me something. But when I came back to the office, at that time, I did not even have a plot of land. But that statement inspired me and I said to myself, this man is telling me something. So quickly, I decided, that was when I decided to organize myself, got a land and started building.
So, Alhaji, we'll have to go, but a few more things. So the major concern with life and living in the Zongo communities I'm getting is about mindset.
It is about
It's
mindset.
about the mind, the orientation of people outside the community and even the people in the community themselves. Because from the example you're telling us, the woman is a Zongonian. The woman lives and is from the Zongo. But she's telling you that you can't park this car here because Zongo, we don't want this.
This is Zongo. Yeah, it's Zongo.
So that's
the mindset.
That's why the human resource development is now very important.
Serious orientation on the way we think and reason. And I think that if they are, we the Zongos, particularly those who are Muslims, sometimes I get a bit worried because you see, if you understand the Quran, life would have been better for us. And those who really, but there is a serious lacuna between understanding of the Quran and then our own actions and adhering to what the Quran says.
Okay. So there's the need for a lot of education there. I'm holding in my hand the Zongo and Inner City Development page of the research and agenda, like I mentioned earlier. The 2024 manifesto, abridged version of the NDC, Reset in Ghana, Building the Ghana We Want Together. Page 68. So the NDC government commits to implementing targeted affirmative action measures to bridge significant developmental gaps and accelerate growth in Zongo communities and inner city areas. It says that this will promote social equity, stimulate economic development, and then foster social inclusion for a more balanced and prosperous Ghana. To achieve these goals, we will, number one, establish the Soyaya Fund.
Soyaya Fund, we are prepared. In fact, His Excellency said we should develop the model. The Soyaya Fund is meant to make available resources to SMEs within the Zongos.
So what's the latest on that you're preparing the model?
We are developing a model, and I'm sure by ending of next month, the president should be launching that one.
The Soyaya Fund for SMEs in the Zongo communities.
Yes.
Okay, so by the end of next month, we should see a launch of this.
A launch of this.
Okay.
Yes.
So when the fund is launched, what next?
Disbursement. We identify businesses within the Zongo. One of the challenges of businesses within the Zongo is records keeping.
Okay.
So we intend to, as part of the model, train those who have these SMEs to understand how records should be kept.
But where will money come from into the fund?
As part of the model that we are developing, I have earlier indicated we have 3 sources of funding, or 4, if I should, investment of Zongo Development Fund. We have donation and fundraising. We have IGF and then government support. Now, The difficulty is that government support sometimes is a bit of a challenge because there are other competing interests. That is not to say that government is not interested in actually making resources available for. But so the aspect of the government support certainly will come, because as part of our budget, that money will come. And then probably we'll use that. And we intend investing some of the money in a productive area that we can be driving some benefit out of it and use to support.
So number 2 is reduce extremely high Hajj fares that we've seen.
That has been done.
Initiate an educational infrastructure program to expand educational infrastructure in Zongo and inner cities, including the building of 3 new Islamic SHs in northern, middle, and southern belts. You've spoken
about that.
That's what I
mentioned, yes.
Now, the STEM and TVET model schools in selected regions to serve Zongo communities. Have we selected the regions already?
We have not selected the regions yet. We are now working on trying to identify the regions, because you see, there are some regions that have been blessed with so many schools. And so we need to balance it with those that lack those infrastructure. So we need to identify those ones.
When should we see this actioned?
I'm sure by next 3 months, this should be done. We should, identifying regions should not be any difficulty. Because
beyond the regions, the schools should be built, STEM and TVET model schools. So when should we see them happening?
I have just tackled the Islamic Senior High School, which is also a capital intensive. And I needed to go out there to seek for support, because government certainly will not be able to afford. So one thing at a time.
Yes. And then the government wants to commence an infrastructure upgrade of the Al Farouk College of Education.
I have done that. I managed to get that done through the collaboration with Get Fund.
So it has been upgraded?
As we speak now. When you get there, about, I think, 3-story teachers bungalow has been sent there. We have 6-unit classroom blocks that have been sent there by Get Fund. I think 4 infrastructure projects, and then they are waiting for their formula to be approved, and then the rest of it will also be sent. That has been done.
Number 6 is that you facilitate the accreditation of Islamic schools, such as the Institute of Islamic Research, to support training more Arabic teachers. Do we have enough?
We do, but let me make this clarification. It's not only the Zongo Development Fund that has that duty and responsibility to run some of these things. We have the inner city and Zongo Development run by a coordinator. So some of these issues fall under his this. So the issue of the Islamic accreditation falls under his jurisdiction.
Provide scholarships to Zongo and inner city students, particularly in the fields of law, medicine, engineering, and ICT.
That has been done under the previous regime, but since I assume because of we don't have the financing, we have not been able to. But on a personal level, yes, we help a few people, but we are yet to get this thing done.
The NDC government has, and this is to wrap up, maybe 2 more questions, quick fire questions. The NDC government has a lot of policies, initiatives for youth development, the National Apprenticeship Program, 1 million coders, a few others. How does it fit in the plan of the Zongo Development Fund?
So that is where the ZITCOM centers comes in. The ZITCOM centers, apart from being a library, both Islamic and then English, we are also going to have a training center established under it, where, you see, if you go to the Zongo community, you have these young men who are also patronizing internet cafes. When you find them there, they do nothing apart from doing fraud against these white people. This is a talent, if redirected, will become productive to the Zongo community. So at the ZIT Center, we intend to establish that secretariatship where we encourage these young men to participate in there. So this coding is coding, 1 million coding that the manifesto talks about. It's possible we can tap in their talent that they misdirected it in defrauding others, so that we can use it to train them to build something that will be productive to
Okay.
community. And then the Zongo fund can even benefit from it. So the ZCOM is actually going to help a lot.
Okay.
And if we are able to get that, even if it is 50 within the 50 Zongo communities, the impact will be huge.
So based on the needs of the Zongo communities and the expectations government has of you, don't you think it would be appropriate that instead of it being a fund or an agency, and I'm talking about the Zongo and inner city development thing, instead of it being like that, President Akufo-Addo, he built it as a ministry that meant a lot more resources. Don't you think that would be better so that you can be better at dealing with the challenges in your various communities?
I have argued in respect of these two institutions, and I have argued that President Akufo-Addo created it more or less as a political tool. But the NDC, we have no excuse, because the MPP and the President Akufo-Addo, they don't control and they have less influence within the Zongos, yet they've created these institutions. The NDC control the Zongo with deep influence politically. And so if we are not careful, these two institutions are likely to become an albatross on our neck, particularly when I look at the things that the Zongo Development Fund have been able to do over the years. I have argued that our laws, you see, the inner city and Zongo development, the fund is supposed to be an agency under that. But there is a conflict. The conflict has to do with the law, the Act of Parliament, and an executive instrument. In the hierarchy of laws, the Act of Parliament is superior than the executive instrument. And you are expected the one mandated by the Act of Parliament to report to an executive instrument. So I have argued that we need to look at it and re-engineer and change. Probably it will not be bad to make the inner city and Zongo development ministry, as it was under the President Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
It will help. And in fact, the one leading is a very experienced former MP of Kasua, very experienced, diligent. He understands the psyche of the Zongo community. So I would encourage the current regime. And John Mama, don't forget, is also even a Zongo man. And so he understands the crisis within the Zongo better than I do. And that is why in appointing, he carefully chose those who should lead in fact, my board chairman, a Zongo man, very experienced man, is currently the chief of youth of Zongo in Greater Accra. And so you have the understanding that, yes, it is important to get the ministry back and then allow Baba Lami to head it so that the reporting structure will be okay. I always have a difficulty with him when I argue this way. And he thinks that I keep telling him that the act is superior than the executive instrument, so it becomes difficult to report. But on the basis of being an experienced person and an elderly brother, I have no difficulty going to report to him. But I think that we need to normalize it so that at least there will be no conflict in respect of the regulations.
Alhaji, we have to go, but a few more basic needs such as education, healthcare in the communities, facilities. What's the plan like briefly?
Well, we have the mandate to make our resources available for provisions of critical infrastructure within the Zongo community.
You know that President Mahama, he complained about AstroTurf. He says that should not be the only thing.
That is why, you see, the AstroTurf is meant to generate revenue for the Zongo community. And so it is actually because of the generation of revenue. That is why the AstroTurf was being put up. But I think that apart from that, we need to critically also examine the needs. And fortunately for me, I have a crucial data in respect of the needs of the various communities. And in line with that data,
top 5.
We are likely going to look at it. Yes, education is critical.
Number 2.
As I have already indicated. Health
3
is critical, because without security, is critical. And then entrepreneurship is critical.
Okay, and the 5?
The 5, change in their thinking. That's orientation.
Okay.
Because when if we are able to get all these 4, without the change in mindset,
it becomes counterproductive.
It becomes counterproductive.
They'll all go back to how it was.
So we needed that much more, even than the.
How much is your allocation right now? How much was allocated for you in the budget?
For goods and services, 2.1.
2.1 million cedis.
Okay. Yes. For goods and services, we have never budgeted for CAPEX because we operate under Office of Government Machinery. Okay. So our CAPEX were consolidated. All the agencies operating under government machinery is there. So for instance, if you see me driving a new Land Cruiser, the fund isn't the one that bought it. Probably chief of staff.
For goods and services, that was what is budgeted for you. Have you received any so far?
Not for this year. Last year we budgeted for 1. I think last year was 1.1.
Okay, and
this year was 2.1.
Okay.
But the last year one, because my appointment delayed, the previous CEO was there, so he wasn't able to get any release.
Okay.
But as I speak to you now, one difficulty that is hanging on my neck is my rent. And let me tell you this, that amount that we are supposed to pay for rent, if I were to have that amount, I will not rent.
Rent as in what?
Office rent.
Office rent. Where's your office?
It's at Abelengpe.
Abelengpe.
Around the Canadian embassy.
Okay. How much is your rent?
$5,000 a month.
$5,000 a month.
And we have to pay 4 years, as agreed and signed by the previous CU. And so we are talking about 2.6. So that is even more than the budget for my goods and services.
So the Zongo Development Fund, you owe $5,000.
Yes.
A month.
Yes.
I'm trying to find the approximate value in cities. In cities, do you have an idea how much it will be?
It used to be 2.6 million when the rate was around 14.
Okay.
Now it's 10. So probably there will be reduction. And so the landlord too is thinking that delay in paying is causing him because of the depreciation, the appreciation of the city, and so that is an issue.
So how will you pay?
Well, I'm engaging the chief of staff, and luckily last week we had a fruitful conversation, and he assured me just after this interview, I'm just going to walk into his office because he asked me to come back this week.
So if you don't pay, you'll be evicted, eh?
Certainly. The landlord will evict us.
So it's like 10.8 million cedis.
Yes.
So so we're talking about all the government installations, all the government building installations. Couldn't you get any of those places to work?
You know, that is one of the difficulties because the previous regime decided to use that
to rent. Okay.
That's what I'm saying, that under my leadership, it won't happen. I cannot understand why I would use close to 2-point-something million to give out for rent. Probably I'll use that money to build. And once you have that building, you are likely to also become a landlord on your own. As part of the internal generated. But once you build, you occupy a certain space. The rest of it you give out for rent.
How many years advance does your landlord take? I don't mean
we are to pay 4 years. That is the agreement. The previous CEO signed that, and in fact.
So I was asking this because. If you're paying 4 years, if that's the agreement, the rent law does not allow you to pay more than 6 months.
That's the conflict, and so.
So if the landlord evicts you, where will you people be?
Well, I'm working on it. I'm sure we'll not get there.
But if you don't have right now,
I am sure we'll not get there. I am very convinced we'll not get there because, in fact, the response of the chief of staff is enough. In fact, he has virtually resolved the matter. He said I should come for the answers this week. So I'm sure we'll not get there.
But the people we are relying on to develop our Zongos, they not the old rent. How would they?
That's why I'm saying that in terms of thinking, I don't see why a CU would have the courage to even enter into such kind of agreement.
Okay.
That is where I found it a bit difficult, particularly when you need that amount of money to assist in the development of the Zongos. And so that is a confusion I am grappling with, and I still cannot understand. There's nothing that will convince me why I should use such kind of money and then just throw it out in the name of rent.
Alhaji, who is the landlord? Or what's the company?
No, it's an individual. It's an old soldier. It's a retiree.
Retiree, yeah.
Yeah, it's an old soldier. A very straightforward man. In fact, I had an opportunity of meeting him. He's a straightforward man. When I look at him, I was thinking probably there is some dealings, etc. But when I had a conversation with him, this is not a man you can approach him with that kind of conduct. He won't. It won't work with him. So I just, in fact, earlier I was thinking of finding a way out of it. Thinking that probably it's one of the schemes that people sometimes institute to.
So there was a thinking
survive.
that maybe the former boss had something.
Yes, that was the thinking.
That's why it was $5,000.
But when I had the opportunity of engaging the man, looking at him, he's not the kind of person that would agree to do that. But I certainly have difficulty agreeing with the $5,000. But
so, how much do you think would be fair if you have to move to another place? How much rent are you willing to pay?
It's not about even fair. It's about getting your own, because at least as I speak to you now, the fund is struggling. Those that are operating within the region, we don't even have an office. I am now working to put up those facilities for them. So I have written to regional ministers to make some space available for my regional coordinators to have a place. Now, even getting them to validate them at the end of the month for their salary, sometimes it's a bit of a challenge.
So how long does it take before the validation? And so approximately how many months arrears sometimes do they not get their salary?
No, for salaries, our salaries have been mechanized. We are paid by controller and accountant general. So we don't have a problem with salaries. Unless maybe somebody misconducted himself, I decided to take actions against him.
Okay.
And then probably their salary is blocked or something. But all of the stuff, unfortunately for me, for some years now, they haven't experienced any promotions. And so there's some kind of despondency sort of. But I'm working around because there's an issue to do with fair wages commission. We need to get them to resolve certain difficulties. Then we can then be able to run the But I am eager to resolve all these issues. And because you see, when you have staff who are not motivated,
they won't work for you.
They won't work.
They'll pretend to be working.
Exactly. So my interest and my inclination is that it's important to encourage them. Encouragement is not only by way of even getting the money, but at least your relationship even with your staff is critical. And I think that so far, even though there are some difficult ones, but I think I'm up to the task and I'm dealing with the issues as expected by His Excellency, the President.
Alhaji, thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm most grateful for this
Alhaji
opportunity.
Halidu Haruna is the Chief Executive Officer of the Zongo Development Fund. The agency tasked with driving development in Zongo and other disadvantaged communities in Ghana. He sat with us. This is still Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. We're back with some more conversations. The extradition of Ken Ofori-Atta. There's a group demonstrating right now. The American Embassy, the U.S. Embassy. We'll talk about that and then some other stories and some other subjects here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Give us a minute. We're back with more.